Hi, and welcome to What a Word with KBDB, with your host, Tumi. The whole heart behind this podcast is to encourage us in our seasons of trials and challenges with the Word of God, knowing that regardless of what we're going through, He is faithful and His Word doesn't change. The situations may be different, but He is always faithful. So without much ado, let's get straight into it. At today's show, we have an amazing woman with us, and I'm not going to do the introductions. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. So Sam, could you please give us a brief introduction, who you are, what you do, and if you're so sure, where can we find you?
My name is Samantha Choma. I'm a wife, I'm a mum of two, and I'm a medical doctor, and I'm also the co-host of the Shades of Black Parenting podcast, which is a space for Black British families to share, learn, and grow together. You can find me on Instagram at Shades of Black Podcast, or you can visit shadesofblackparenting.com.
Amazing. I've known Samantha for a while. She has been in mutual social circles, I want to say from maybe early to mid-20s, and I have seen you from afar, just, I don't want to say blossom because it almost sounds a bit patronizing, but
no, I think blossom's fine. I think blossom is a good word.
Like literally just blossom, but not like blossom into like this amazing flower, but literally like blossom into different ranges of who you are. And it's really amazing. It's really, really amazing. And that's part of the reason why, or the main reason even, why I felt really led to bring you on, because I feel like your journey from who you were as a single woman and then being a wife and then deciding on actually pushing forward with your dream career and then transitioning into a mother is amazing. And a lot of women our age and in different ages are trying to find the balance in doing that. And I'm sure you'll say that you're still finding your balance, but you have definitely literally just blossomed. And I think it's definitely one that we should listen to. So the first question that I have is just if you could explain from your perspective, obviously, what your journey was like transitioning from Sam that had to think about you and your family and that's that, to Sam being a wife and Sam being a mother, and even Sam being a builder, like building all of your different ventures, from the podcast to being a doctor and all of those transition parts. How did you find transitioning into those different variations of yourself?
It's really like quite a big question. So Sam as the individual, I thought I was amazing. I thought I was really wonderful. I thought I was a catch. I was just really, really proud of myself.
Awesome.
And then and then reality hit. So I got married in 2013. So almost 7 years now. And when you get married, you're suddenly confronted with all of your ugly. You're confronted with all of the unresolved issues that you've had. You may do like premarital counseling. We did two courses. But there's something about joining with somebody else and living with them and committing to them that just uncovers everything. So I soon learned that Samantha is not so great after all, and that Samantha has a lot of work to do. So that was one of the challenges, just growing into this kind of new identity as a wife. Realizing that I'm not so patient, realizing that I can be I've always been quite sharp with words, but realizing that I need to hold that tongue a little bit more. Realizing that compassion is key, and self-sacrifice. So though I've always said that becoming a wife was actually much harder than becoming a mum.
Wow.
In terms of the transition, because there's something biological that happens in, I would say many women, not all women. Something biological happens when you become a mum, and all your hormones like take over, and all you want to do is protect your child. It's very, very natural. Whereas joining with another human being who's been a human being on his own for 30 years, and you've been by yourself for almost 30 years as well, is different. Petrifying. It's challenging. It's more difficult than transitioning into becoming a mother, in my opinion.
That's awesome, yeah.
And in my experience, really. That said, becoming a mum is that identity has been interesting. That identity change has been interesting. So, in amongst all the joys of motherhood, again, for me, I was confronted again with things from my past. Okay. So, again, with unresolved issues, with learned unhelpful behaviors.
Okay, yeah.
Well. And you're suddenly all these thoughts from like childhood come back.
Wow.
And I think because loads of people, when they're younger, they have dreams of what kind of parent they will be, and all that stuff. But when it happens, it's not as straightforward. It's not as simple as whatever you've envisioned before. Suddenly you're a parent, but you also have to work, or you also have to be a wife. You also have to be yourself. You also have to be a friend. You also have to be a daughter, a sister. All these different identities, all these different roles that you play in life. So it's not just I'm going to focus on being a mother and that's just it, and I'm going to do all these wonderful, amazing things for my child. It's never that simple. So I've got two children. So my daughter is my firstborn, and she is almost 5. And then my son is he's just turned 1 a couple of months ago. And I remember with my daughter, it was a happy time, straightforward pregnancy. It's fine. Then she was born, and I'm pretty sure for the first year or so after having her, I was literally just on the verge of rage.
Wow.
All the time. And people don't talk to you about that. They don't talk about those kinds of emotions that come through. And I think it's a mix of being stressed out, sleep deprived. I went back to, because I was in medical school at the time, I went back to school when she was 7 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just a very tough time, and I breastfed her until she was like, I think 14 months. It was tough, but going from not really being an angry person to every small thing.
Who would you be angry at?
Everyone.
Oh.
Everyone. So even in medical school, I think because I just become a mum, and suddenly all your priorities change. Suddenly, all the small things that you would pussyfoot around people and like walk on eggshells and try to please other people at your own detriment, I no longer cared.
Well, that's good, to be honest. That is freeing.
It's freeing up until the point when you realize that you're actually like telling off a consultant.
Oh wow.
Right? And you're not even a colleague, you're a medical student.
You're a student.
I told off a consultant who was being really rude and really demeaning and patronizing to me as a student, and it made me cry as well. And I went back to him and I just told him, actually, what you're doing is unacceptable. And after I had my go at him, very politely still, I walked to her and I was like, Samantha, what on earth are you doing?
Literally having a conversation about yourself to yourself, thinking, "Oh my goodness,
what are you up to? What are you doing? This is not life."
But what did he say?
I mean, he didn't say anything. He apologized.
Oh,
he
I think he meant it.
apologized. Yeah. And then even with like, I don't know if I should say, but even with like my mum,
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be difficult when you're a new mum
Yeah,
and then grandparents.
yeah.
Right? Grandparents and aunts and everyone wants to kind of give their
Yeah.
advice and
Tell you the best way.
Tell you the best way. And remind you that you're not the first mother.
Yeah.
Nor will you be the last.
Yeah.
So there were a few challenges.
I can imagine.
There as well. But you know, all in all, I think we kind of got through it, and I settled into my new role and identity as a mum, and as someone who is now responsible for this little person. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but in both roles, so wife and mother, I had to confront the ugly parts of me, that's how I always describe it, and resolve those things, and just learn how to love myself, love my new self.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those two transitions I'd probably explain in that way. As for being a doctor, and dreams and career and everything, I've always been someone who has goals or has an idea, and goes for it. So with regards to being a doctor, I've always wanted to be a doctor, but then got discouraged along the way, and then eventually got into medical school and completed it. And now I'm working as a doctor full time. Then and I love my job. It's tough. It's tough working in the NHS, and
even now I can imagine.
Especially now, it's very tough. But I just love my job. I love my job. I love working with people. I love getting to know people's stories. I love being able to help people in their most vulnerable times.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing else that I would do.
That's wow.
And with the podcasting, it's just I saw a need and went for it, really, and that was it. Yeah.
So casually, just do that on the side of everything else, just.
No, do you know what it was? It's because I was having all these conversations about parenting with all my other Black British friends who are also parents, and I was just like, why are we not having these conversations on a wider scale? So that's how Shades of Black was born, really. I was already having the conversations.
Yeah.
Just put it out there. And it's been good so far, and we've had really good responses.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I really engage with the post because I think it's really relevant. And as a Black teacher, actually just being in, hearing that space and interacting, you see so many sides. I get it in terms of like culture, but then being an educator and just thinking, okay, I can be a voice for the child and for the parent, and then also from the kind of British culture that we have as well. So I think it's great, and I hope that you don't underestimate that, we'll have this conversation. It should be on a wider scale, because the fact that you saw the need there meant that it wasn't there in the first place, and it's really valid for people who need to hear what you're saying. I think it's brilliant, and a lot of your stuff, from the spoken word nights to way back when to this, So I salute you, Samantha. And that's it's great to actually go into our next question that I have for you. And so mummy guilt, I've heard a lot about it, and I don't know if you identify with it, and how do you get the balance? Because I would say that you are a driven person in terms of not just your family life, but in terms of the things that you want to achieve for yourself. So is mummy guilt a thing for you? And if so, how does it play in your life?
It's funny because I think I only really experience mummy guilt when society tells me that I should.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
I don't really I guess maybe sometimes. My only thing about being a mum that works outside of the home is that I wish my hours were just a bit shorter in the day so that I could be home for a little bit longer in the afternoons. I don't particularly want to work less days, or fewer days. I just want to work fewer hours in the day. That would be my only I guess improvement on my working life. But I don't really feel mummy guilt. The way that I see it is that I think it's good for my children to see both their parents working really hard and having identities outside of the home. So they see us as, you know, workers or whatever. They see us as friends, as, you know, siblings. They see us in all these like variety of different roles. And from my job, I see the effects of not being able to have like gainful employment, what that does to your confidence, to your self-esteem. So I feel boosted when I go to work and I feel like I've made a valuable contribution to society, and also that I've been paid for it. And I can come home to my family. So I think it's good for the kids to see that. And also because I'm a person that I'm happy making sacrifices now to enjoy later in most things. I can't resist the chocolate, like the milk chocolate hobnobs, but in general, delayed gratification, I can do that. Do you know what I mean? So I just see it as I'm building a future for my family, for my kids, and you know, we'll all enjoy later.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So the only thing, I don't know if it's mummy guilt or not, but the only thing that I do think about is that I wish that my kids would see me relaxing more. Because when I'm at home, it's like okay, I've only got this amount of hours to be able to do, you know, the chores and cook and all that stuff. So I'm always very conscious of the fact that they're seeing me as mummy is busy. And then maybe their dad is the one that plays with them all the time. So that's the one thing I'm conscious about, and I'm working on just trying to be more present and not as busy when I'm at home with them.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So actually that leads into the next question I had was then how then do you balance not getting lost in all of the different hats and roles that you have to play? What have you found works for you, and what have you said, no, that doesn't work for me, and I'm not ashamed to admit that?
One of the great things that I've found about my character, my personality since becoming a mum especially, is just how much easier it is to say no. And it's not no, I've got a child, or no, I can't do that because I've got kids. It's just no.
That's good.
It's just no. Respect my time, respect my answer. It's just no. So
that's really good.
A lot easier.
And actually I've been trying to say no, and not because of, like, trying to explain myself.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely a needed skill, because you don't need to give an excuse. Like, you ask me and I can say no, just as you respect. And actually,
I think exactly, and I think people do start to respect you a bit more once you do start setting those boundaries. So no has become a really useful part of my vocabulary in the last few years. Even at work, for example, there'll be times when we're finishing late, not because there's a sick patient or anything, or just things just overrun, and people expect you to stay for longer, and they'll say, oh, were you able to stay back? And I'm like, no. And then they say, oh, is it because you've got kids? And I'm like, no, it's not because I've got kids. It's because my hours finished. My job finished at 5,
And I'm still
and there's
here.
no reason. And there's no reason for me to be here for longer. So yeah, just no. And then I bounce. But losing myself in any area. So one thing I have to say is having an equal, hardworking, loving, respectful partner makes all the difference. I'm not able to do half the things that I do, if not for him.
Wow.
So that's like the main thing, I think. And then, so saying no, having a good partner, and also like not, I think that saying that you can have it all is actually a myth. It's actually a lie. Actually, it's not that big a lie. It's just, it lacks context, I suppose. It lacks a caveat. The caveat for me is you can have it all, but just not all at the same time.
Yes.
So there are times when I just have to prioritize. There are times when I have to really focus on work. I have to get some assessments done, assignments done, etc. And I tell that to my husband, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll pick up the slack for that period.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or there are times when I'm able to say, okay, I'm going to focus more on the family, and work might not suffer, but I just may not be giving 100% at work. I may give like 90%, and they just have to, manage that. But yeah, so prioritization has been really, really important. Or times when I'm like, okay, I need to focus on, Shades of Black, and I need to dedicate this one weekend to doing work for that. And that, so it's just about prioritization and communication with with my husband. But the one area that I do feel like I have struggled the most to like not lose myself has been not losing myself, like not losing Samantha.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like caring for Samantha and, looking after Samantha and, spending time with Samantha. That's the area that I struggle with the most, I think. So like self-care, I suppose.
So how do you do that, being a mom of two, having a full-time job? I have a few friends who are now mums, and they're just like, oh, I put eyebrows on today, and I'm like, okay. They're like, you don't understand what that means to me. Like, oh, okay. And then I babysat for my friend, and then we did the school run, and my wig was barely on, and I was just like, wow, this can't be every day. And I understood it, and I was like, wow, oh my goodness. So like, what have you put in place to feed into Samantha and have your time for Samantha, or what you're trying to feed into place if it's not 100% there yet?
Yeah, this is definitely a work in progress. It's definitely a work in progress. I think routine is the key. So I have not mummy acquaintances who are also, say, working full time, and they just know that every 4 weeks I'm getting my hair done, my nails done, and my wax done on this date. So every 4 weeks it's like non-negotiable.
Awesome.
Right? And being very strict and very like and set up those boundaries. That's what I'm working on when it comes to myself, because I find it very easy to, in terms of like my list of my hierarchy of priorities, the easiest one for me to put at the bottom is myself. And I think a lot of women can probably agree with that and confirm that. So moving myself up and just reminding myself that my family can't be happy, they can't be healthy if I'm not happy and healthy. So that's what I'm currently really, really working on.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's my thing.
That is definitely necessary. Samantha, thank you so much. When I thought about this subject, and I'm not a mother yet, but I thought, it'd be really awesome to hear from someone with your track record, I mean, I remember when you were pregnant, I was like, oh, medical school. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are literally cut from a different cloth. And
Bless
just
you.
seeing you like literally just blow up with the kids, which you are so beautiful and just are such a blessing. And with your marriage as well, I think it's really beautiful to see. And what you're saying about delayed gratification, in the times we're living in, everything that we set up, there's almost like an expectation, like it has to blow and bang like right now. Like if it doesn't bang right now, if you don't get the 100 likes right now, then what are you even doing? But to have that mentality that you're saying, and to know that you're building for a better tomorrow, and being able to share that with your children when they can, I guess, understand it better, I think it's a really beautiful thing that we don't lose, because it can be really easy to lose, and really easy just to kind of give up because it's not really working out the way that we envisioned it, even though we're only at day 3 or day 5 or day 50, when there's like 1,000 days yet to come. So yeah, I think your voice and the work that you're doing in your home and out on the wider scale and in our hospitals is needed. Your voice is needed, your mentality is needed. And I'm just really happy that you, in your schedule of everything that you have going on, that you had time for us today.
No, it's fine. I just finished detangling my daughter's hair, so
and put her to bed. I mean, like amazing.
So it was totally fine.
Oh my goodness, detangling her hair. Oh my goodness. The list goes on. It's it's really amazing. So as we know with What a Word, it's just not discussing real life situations that we go through, it's also ending with scripture. So Samantha's just going to end with the scriptures that she has used in her different seasons to keep her going and managing the many roles that she has. So I'm going to pass over to Samantha.
So the first one is Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. James chapter 1, verse 19 to 20. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Proverbs 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Amos 3, verse 3. Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Second Corinthians chapter 12. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. In 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. And then lastly, Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And that's it.
Amen.
Amen.